Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is this stunning pineapple shawl. I have it on top of a towel, well, for one, because I just got done blocking the piece that we make in the tutorial, and on top of this towel, this beautiful yarn pops just amazingly. There is some stuff going on outside. I apologize for that, but this is so beautiful. I am super happy with this, and I think you guys will be happy too. Now, the yarn I used for my shawl was actually a gift from German relatives. It is a super, super thin yarn. It's 4 strands held together, and combined, I would say that it equaled to a 2-weight yarn. But don't fret, you do not have to use that. You can use, I would recommend a 3-weight yarn. So get yourself any 3-weight yarn. That's actually what we use for the piece that I show you guys in the tutorial. This is actually a 3-weight yarn, and look, it's blocked. Well, it's a little hard to see on top of that blue, but it's been blocked. It's perfect. So a 3-weight yarn would be great. And then I used a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. Where did my stitch marker go? I just had that stitch marker. Go figure. Well, you are going to need a pair of scissors. Go ahead and grab yourself a stitch marker. And then you will need an iron with a steam setting, because we're going to block our shawl once it's done. And that's what makes those pineapples lay nice and open and fanned and beautiful. All right, let's see. Yardage. I would recommend for a pretty decent size shawl, I would recommend 800 yards. I think that would be a pretty decent size shawl. Mine, from the center, the part that sits right at the base of your neck that comes down to your butt, measures mine measures, give or take an inch, 34 inches. And it is perfect for me. I love this shawl. I'm so excited. Okay, so you guys go ahead and get your supplies together. Oh, before, I do want to mention that this is a 4-row repeat. We repeat row 13, 14, 15, and 16. You repeat those 4 rows over and over and over again, and then you are going to end on a row 15. That is what gives us the cute little ruffle edge along the triangle shape of the shawl. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's stunning. Everybody's going to compliment you. All right, get your supplies together and let's get started. All right, so to get started, let's get a slip knot on our hook. And as always, make sure you have plenty of tail to weave in. And we are going to start with a chain of 6. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Slip stitch to that first chain. Chain 1. We formed a little ring. So I'm going to put my fingers in that ring, pull this tail tight to close that chain that we slip stitched into. And now I get my pattern here. All right, we are going to chain 3, and that is going to count as a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and into the ring, working over our tail, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, Now we're going to chain 2, and this is going to be the center, or like the spine portion of our shawl, the chain 2 space. Okay, we chain 2, we're going to go right back into the ring with a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, and go right back in there with a double crochet. I have a cat hair in my yarn. Okay, so that is the end of row 1. And you should have your chain 3, a double, so we technically have 2 double right there, a chain 1, double, chain 1, double. There's our one side. Here's our chain 2 spine, and then double, chain 1, double, chain 1, 2 double. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochet, our chain 3. I'm going to call that our turning chain 3. All right, so that is the end of row 1, and we are going to move on to row 2. I have a spot from my highlighter I've been using to keep track of where I am on my pattern. I'm going to go wash that off because it's driving me nuts and I didn't see it till I got started. Alrighty, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so that is the end of row 1. So to move on to row 2, we're going to work our chain 3. And I want to tell you throughout this pattern, your chain 3, try your hardest not to work that very tight, because the tighter it's worked, the harder it is to get into. And it can be a bit of a bear. Okay, so chain 3, loosely just work my chain 3, turn. That chain 3 counts as a double. So we are going to double crochet into that very next double. Just like that. Chain 2 into the very next double crochet. We're going to work 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3. I have a cat hair. 3, 4, that's 3, 4, and 5, chain 2, double crochet into the next double, chain 2, double into the next double, and you can see we're continuing that chain 2. That's going to be the spine of our shawl. Chain 2, 5 double crochet into that very next double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, double into that very next double crochet, and then we're going to double into the top of that chain 3. So if you look, you can see there's the back bump of the first chain, second chain, third chain. I'm going to double crochet into the top of the chain 3, and I want to catch the back loop and the side loop, just like that. So that is the end of row 2. We're going to chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3, turn our work, and chain 3 counts as a double, so we're going to double crochet into the very next double, chain 2, into the next double crochet. We're going to work a 2 double crochet cluster, so that is yarn over, go into that next double, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go right back in there again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and you should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. That is our 2 double crochet cluster. All right, we're going to chain 2, work that 2 double crochet cluster into the next double, three loops, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 2, cluster into the next double, chain 2, cluster into the next double, pull through all 3, chain 2, cluster into the last double crochet, yarn over, pull through all 3, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters. All right, we're going to chain 2, double crochet into the very next double, chain 2, double into the next double, now I'm going to stop because it's getting pretty prominent now that you can see that this chain 2 right in the middle, that's the spine of our shawl. So I am going to use a stitch marker to always keep track of that spine. You don't have to do this, it's quite helpful. Especially, you know, when your shawl gets so big and you're working your pattern all the way to the chain 2 spine, work the chain 2, well, it's chain 2 on some rows it changes, but anyway, and then you come back down. After a while it gets pretty easy to skip that spine and not realize that you worked right over it. So just keeping a stitch marker there to help, you know, keep track of what you have going on is pretty helpful. Okay, just marking off where we are. All right, we're going to chain 2, and now we're going to go to that first double crochet and work our cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, the next one, chain 2, and we got one more, chain 2. All right, now to end the row we're going to double into the very next double, and then double into the top of that chain 3, and right there you can see is my third chain up. I'm going to work a double crochet into there, and that is the end of row 3. Chain 3 and turn. Row 4, we're going to double crochet into the very next double. I'm going to stop for just a second. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but they are finally starting on building the building a building caddy corner from my house that burnt at the beginning of the year. And I don't know if you can hear the trucks that are going on out there. So I'm going to pause this and go shut my other window real quick. Okay, sorry about that. It just, after a while, it becomes such a normal sound that it's hard to remember. Oh yeah, I doubt they want to hear that. All right, so we have double crocheted into the very next double crochet. We are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single crochet, or we're going to skip the first, or we're going to skip the next chain 2 space, okay? Into the next chain 2 space, we're going to single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 2 space, chain 4, single into the next chain 2 space, chain 4, and into the next chain 2 space, single crochet. So you can see there is the beginning of our little pineapple. Well, actually this chain 5 is, or I mean the 5 double is the beginning, and then it comes out to the cluster, and then it's going to end with the chains. All right, so now we are going to chain 4, and then we're going to go right to the very next double crochet. We're going to double crochet into the next double into the next double, chain 2, double into that next double, I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker back because I want to keep track of my spine. All right, now we're going to chain 4, jump to the chain 2, the first chain 2 between the clusters, and we're going to single, chain 4, single, chain 4, single, chain 4, single into the last chain 2 between the clusters, and then chain 4, double crochet into the very next double crochet, and double crochet into the top of that chain 3. And there is the end of row 4. Turn my pattern over. Okay, so if you hold it like this, you can see here's the little beginning of our 2 pineapples. Okay, all right, so we are going to chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3, and this is row 5, and into the very next double crochet we're going to work a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So we're starting a new pineapple right here. So into that next double crochet with a double. Come on. Double, chain 1, go back in there with a double, chain 1, and go back in there again with a double. So we have our turning chain 3, and into the very next double we have a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. Okay, now we're going to chain 4, jump to the next chain 4 space, skip the first chain 4 space I should say, jump to the next chain 4 space of our pineapple and single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next chain 4, So our pineapple has gone from 3 chain 4 spaces to 2 chain 4 spaces. Now we're going to chain 4, jump to that very next double crochet, so the double crochet that starts the chain 2 spine, and in that very next double we're going to start another pineapple. So we're going to work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 2, and then into the next double crochet we're going to start another pineapple. So into the next double with a double crochet, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So here it still stays our chain 2 spine. So I'm going to put my stitch marker back. All right, now we're going to chain 4 and then jump to the first chain 4 that starts our pineapple. So we skip the next, jump to the next, single, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the next chain 4, single, chain 4, into the next chain 4 loop, single crochet, and we chain 4, skip that next chain 4 space, and into the very next double crochet we're going to start another pineapple. So we're going to work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. And now into the top of that chain 3 to end row 5, we're going to work 1 double crochet. My chain is a little tight here. Ugh. There, I got it. Just like that. So that is the end of row 5. And to move on to row 6, we're going to work our chain 3 and turn. In row 6, we're going to double crochet into the very next double. So the very next double crochet, work a double, chain 2, into the very next double crochet we're going to work the 5 double, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 4. Now we're going to come over to this pineapple. We're going to skip the we're going to skip the very next chain 4, single crochet into the next chain 4, chain 4, single crochet into the next chain 4. So if you can look, we have got our pineapple going from, I'm trying to hold this so you can see it and I can point at the same time. All right, so here is our pineapple right here. It starts with the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, and then it goes to the 5 double. Then it goes to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cluster stitches, and then we work our chain. We have 1 chain 4, 2 chain 4, 3 chain 4. So we go from 3 to 2, and we just work the 1. So we're going to finish this pineapple up, and we're working on starting the next 2. So we're going from 1 pineapple to 3, 3 to however many, I didn't count, but okay, so now we chain 4, skip the next chain 4, go to the next, well, I'll just say this, skip the next chain 4, the next double crochet, and go right into the next double crochet, and we're going to work our 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need to keep up with my pattern. Chain 2, double crochet into the very next double, chain 2, double into the next double, and go ahead and mark our center chain 2, chain 2, into the very next double crochet with 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to chain 4, 3, 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the next chain 4, the next double, and into the very next double we're going to work 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 2, double crochet into the very next double, and double crochet into the top of the chain 3. There's a train going by. Okay, sorry about that. Now that's the end of row 6. So to move on to row 7, we chain 1, 2, 3 and turn our work, and we are going to double crochet into the very next double. Go right in there with a double. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, jump to that very next double crochet, and we're going to work the 2 double crochet cluster again. So again, you yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, go right back in there again, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And that's our 2 double crochet cluster, or I just refer to it throughout this pattern as a cluster. Okay, so now we chain 2, we're going to cluster into the next double. 1 and 2, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, chain 2, cluster into the next double, pull through all 3, chain 2, cluster into the next double, chain 2, and cluster into that last double crochet right there. And don't forget, you should have 5 clusters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just want to pause here and say that throughout working this entire shawl, the one time that I would keep messing up is missing that last double crochet for the cluster, for that 5th cluster. So throughout your pattern or throughout your shawl, keep track that you have 5 clusters right there, and that you're not accidentally skipping that 5th double crochet. Okay, so now we chain 4, 2, 3, 4, skip that chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, skip the next chain 4, jump right to that next double with a cluster. One, chain 2, cluster into the next. Chain 2, cluster into the next. Chain 2, I got a knot in my finger. Okay, chain 2, cluster into the next double. Chain 2, and into that last double, work your cluster. Oh, that was a double crochet, not a cluster. Okay, so now we chain 2, double crochet into the next double, chain 2, let me take out that stitch marker, double into our next double. I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker back so I keep track of my spine. All right, now we're going to chain 2 and cluster into that next double. Chain 2, I've got the squeaks. I just about pulled that out. Cluster into the next double. Chain 2. Cluster into the next double. Chain 2. Cluster into the next double. Chain 2, one more cluster into that last double crochet. Come on now, there. There we go. So chain 4, skip that chain 4 into the next chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, and jump straight to that next double crochet and work our 2 double cluster, I thought I split my yarn. I messed up. Okay, I'm getting lost in my stitch here. 2 double crochet cluster into the very next double. 1. Oh my gosh. Ugh. There is my cluster in my first double. Chain 2 into the next double, work your cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next one, into the next. Don't forget your chain 2 into the last double. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 clusters. Chain 2, double crochet into the very next double, and double crochet into the top of that chain 3. Whoa, I couldn't get that right. Okay, so we have the end of row 7, and you can see there is our first complete pineapple. Here's the other one. And like I said, don't worry about you if you're not able to see them right now. Once we block this, they'll come out perfect. All right. Just looking over my pattern. Let's move on to row 8. And we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn. Double crochet into that very next double. My stomach is growling. If you guys can hear that, I'm sorry. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip this first chain 2 space into the next chain 2 space with a single. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next chain 2 space. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next chain 2 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next chain 2 space. Chain 4. And now what we're going to do is skip this chain 4, and into the very next single crochet we're going to work 1 double crochet. Chain 4 and jump to the next chain 2 space, work a single. Chain 4, jump to the next chain 2 space, single crochet. Chain 4, single into the next chain 2 space. Chain 4, single into that next chain 2 space. And now we have the 3 chain 4 spaces for our pineapple. All right, now we're going to chain 4, double crochet into that very next double. I'm going to move my stitch marker, chain 2, double into the next double, stop and put my stitch marker back, and I'm going to take a minute to show you guys. You can see our center spine. And I promise you guys, once you get farther and farther on your shawl, you're really going to be thankful that you got that stitch marker there. Oh, why did I take it out? I wanted to leave that in there. All right, so now we chain 4, jump to the next chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 4, single, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, into the very next single crochet, the very next single crochet we're going to work a double. Chain 4, single into the next chain 2, 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 chain 4, come over, double into our next double crochet, and then double into the top of that chain 3. So it's a little tight on mine. Got it. Double. All right, so that is the end of round 8. To move on to round 9, row 9, I'm sorry. Chain 1, 2, 3, and turn. And once again, we are going to start a new pineapple. I have little hairs. What this is yesterday I filmed my last tutorial, and that last tutorial was the little bitty spider things that are adorable. And the felt I used, and then cutting my pipe cleaners has got little fuzz everywhere. Okay, I lost my chain. 1, 2, 3, and turn. So for row 9, and I'm just realizing I was wrong. Whenever I said we went from 1 to 3, I meant like 3 total pineapples, not... Sorry, I hope I'm not confusing you, but earlier I had said that we were going from 1 pineapple to 3, and I didn't want you guys to think it was 3 in one row. It's 3 total on this side, our spine, and then 3 total on that side. Sorry, and I hope I didn't just confuse you worse, but I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that I didn't I didn't mean that to sound the way it did. All right, so moving on. All right, so we've got our chain 3. So row 9, we are going to, like I said, start another pineapple. So into this very next double, we're going to work double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So go in there with double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So we have our turning chain 3, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, now we're going to chain 4. Skip this chain 4 into the very next chain 4, single crochet. Chain 4. Single into the next chain 4. Chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Single into the next chain 4. I am going to wipe off my hook because it keeps squeaking. All right, now chain 4 into the next double crochet. We're going to start another pineapple. So that is double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So go in there, double crochet, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, now chain 4, skip that next chain 4 into the next chain 4 space with a single, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4 space, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, skip that next chain 4 space into the next double. We're going to work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So double crochet, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. All right, now chain 2, double crochet into that next double. I'll move my stitch marker up. I'm sorry, I messed that up. We work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 2. Into the next double, we work the same thing. Double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. I said that we just worked a double in there, but we actually work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. Okay. So you can see we're continuing our spine up. All right, now we're going to chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, into the very next double crochet, work double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, a cat here, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next chain 4, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next double with a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. It's a loud truck. All right, now we're going to double crochet into the top of that chain 3. You can see right there my chain is awfully small. Got it. Okay, so that is the end of row 9. And if we pull this out a bit, you can see our work. All right, let me turn my page. For row 10, we're just about to the repeat, the row repeat. Okay, so to move on to row 10, we chain 1, 2, 3, turn, double crochet into the very next double, chain 2, into the very next double crochet. We're going to work 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 4, skip the next chain 4 space into the next one with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, skip the chain 4 and the next double into that very next double crochet, work 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the chain 4, the double, and into that very next double crochet, work 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can see my stitch marker, so I know we're coming up to the center. trying to pop my wrist so it'll stop popping while I'm crocheting. All right, so we chain 2, double crochet into that very next double. Chain 2. I'm going to go ahead and take out my stitch marker. Double into that very next double. Put my stitch marker back. Chain 2 into the next double with 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, chain 4. Skip the next chain 4 into the next with a single. Chain 4. Single crochet into the next chain 4. Chain 4. Skip the next chain 4 and double, and there's a little chain 1 there, so skip that one too. Double crochet or 5 double into the next double. Two, 3, 4, 5, chain 4. Skip that chain 4 space, single crochet into the next chain 4. Chain 4, got a little knot. Single into that next chain 4, chain 4, skip the chain 4, the double, into the very next double. We're going to work the 5 double crochet. I split my yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 2, double into that very next double, and to end the row we're going to double crochet to the top of the chain 3. So here's my first chain, there's my second chain, and then that little bitty one right there is my third chain. So I have got to, this right here is exactly why I said at the beginning to make sure you work those chain 3s a little looser. All right. So that is the end of row 3, or 3, why did I say 10? Row 10, and you can see our work so far. Like I said, once we block this, this is going to look perfect. Okay. Okay, so to get started with row 11, we are going to chain 3 and turn, double crochet into that very next double, and I realize I need to bring you guys in just a bit. Okay, all right, now we're going to chain 2 into the very next double crochet with the 2 double crochet, or a cluster, I'm sorry. So we cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, and one more double crochet right there to work our cluster into. All right, now we're going to chain 4, skip the next chain 4, into the next chain 4, single crochet, chain 4, jump to that first double crochet and work the 2 double crochet cluster, chain 2, 2 double cluster, chain 2, into the next double with the cluster, I don't know, there we go, chain 2, cluster into the next double, chain 2, and right there the last double cluster, all right, so now we chain 4, skip that next double crochet, or skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4, single crochet, sorry about that. All right, so now we chain 4, jump over to the next double, work our cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, into the next double, chain 2, next double, chain 2, and one more double in that set of 5, okay, so now to work our center spine, we chain 2, double into that next double, chain 2, remove our stitch marker, double into that next double, then stop, put that stitch marker back so we keep track of the spine of our shawl. All right, chain 2, and we're going to get back to working the clusters and the double. Chain 2 into the next with a cluster, chain 2, cluster again, chain 2, next double, dang it. Sometimes crocheting on camera is a lot harder than what you think. Chain 2, and you got one more double in that set of 5. All right, chain 4, skip the next chain 4, into that next chain 4, work a single crochet, chain 4, jump to the next double and start our clusters. One, chain 2, two, chain 2, three, chain 2, 4, chain 2, one more cluster to work, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 4, skip that chain 4, around that next chain 4 work a single, chain 4, I'm sorry, I was gonna say around that, that's not right. Jump straight to that next double crochet and work our 5 clusters. 1, don't forget that chain 2, 2, chain 2, 3, chain 2, 4, chain 2, and right there's that last double, and there is 5. All right, chain 2, double crochet in the next double, and then go ahead and double crochet in the top of that chain 3 right there. Okay, that is the end of row 11, and to move on to row 12, I gotta turn my page. Chain 3, turn, double crochet into that very next double, chain 4, skip this little chain 2 right here, jump to the first chain 2 between our clusters and single crochet, chain 4, was that 4? Yeah, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into that next chain 2, chain 4, single into that next chain 2, and now we chain 4, jump to that single crochet and work a double into the next single. Okay, chain 4, jump to the first chain 2 between your clusters and single. I keep splitting this. Chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into that next chain 2, chain 4, jump over to that single crochet and work a double, chain 4, jump over to the first single jump over to the first chain 2 between your clusters and single, chain 4, into the next chain 2 with a single, chain 4, single, chain 4, see, this right here is exactly why I keep that stitch marker there, because I looked away at my pattern for a split second and I looked back and I thought, whoa, what do I have? Okay, single crochet in that last chain 2 between the clusters, chain 4, and now we skip the cluster and the chain 2 into that double crochet, work 1 double crochet, chain 2, move your stitch marker, double into that next double, and there is your spine. Okay, So now we chain 4, skip that chain 2, jump to the next chain 2, single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump to that next single crochet and work 1 double crochet. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have the hardest time working a stitch after a chain. Let me rephrase that. I have the hardest time working a yarn over stitch after a chain. So a half double, a double, a treble, any stitch that has a yarn over with a chain right behind it, I have the hardest time working that stitch. Okay, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump to the chain 2 between your clusters and single. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, into the next chain 2, single crochet, chain 4, into that next chain 2 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, jump to that single crochet and work a double. Chain 4, jump to the chain 2 between your clusters and single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, and now chain 4, double into the very next double crochet, and double crochet into the top of that chain 3. My chain 3 is a little tight. There it went. Okay, and that is the end of row 12. And this is what your shawl should so far be looking like. Let me hold it like this. And if I give it a pull to make it look like it's blocked, you can see your pineapple. Your pineapples. Ta-da! Like I said, once this gets blocked, this is going to be stunning. Well, your shawl. Mine's already done. All right. Okay, so to move on to row 13, and remember 13 is the first row of our 4-row repeat, so 13, 14, 15, 16. Row 13 is 1, 2, 3, turn our work, and into the very next double crochet, we are going to work a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So the double, chain 1, go right back in there with another double, chain 1, right back in there again with another double, just like that. All right, now we're going to chain 4, 2, 3, 4, skip this chain 4 space into the next chain 4 with a single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, and into the top of the double crochet we're going to work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. So into that double crochet with a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 4. And that is your pattern repeat until the spine of our shawl. So we chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, jump to the double and work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. Start that over. Chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next with a single, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, I chained one too many, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, and then work to the center. So into that double crochet, we're going to work the, the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, and now we're going to keep our chain 2 spine. So chain 2, move our stitch marker, jump to that next double crochet and work a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. Pull up a loop and go ahead and put your stitch marker back on your center chain 2, your spine. So row 13 of our 4-row repeat, row 13 is the only row that's not the double crochets continuing up the spine. That's the only row we are actually working a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. That's where we're adding a new pineapple. All right, so now we're just going to continue that down this side. Chain 4, skip the chain 4 into the next with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the chain 4 into that double crochet. We're going to work a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. I don't know why my camera is focusing like that. Holy cow. All right. So to continue, we chain 4, skip that chain 4 into the next single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 space, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, jump over to that double crochet and work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double, and then we chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4 loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, single into the next, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you work that chain 4, sorry about that, into the last double. We work the double, chain 1, double, chain 1, double. and then into the top of that chain 3 we work our double crochet, and that is the end of row 13. And like I said, that's the first row of our 4-row repeat. So to move on to row 14, we chain 1, 2, 3 and turn our work. All right, and we are going to double crochet into the very next double crochet. There we go. Chain 2. Into the next double crochet, we work 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 4. Skip the chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the next chain 4, double crochet that little chain 1, and into the next double work your 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that's your pattern repeat. Chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just go ahead and jump right to that middle double crochet of the set of 3 and work 5 double into that middle double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And repeat that again. Chain 4, 2, 3, 4. Skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, single into the next chain 4, chain 4. Just skip right over to that middle double crochet of your set of 3 and work 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, now we're to the spine, the chain 2 spine. We're going to chain 2, double crochet into that next double, chain 2. I'm going to go ahead and move my stitch marker, double into that next double. I'm going to stop and put my stitch marker back. Okay, chain 2 into the very next double crochet with 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4. Just go ahead and jump right over to that middle double crochet and work 5 double. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 4, chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the middle double crochet with 5 double. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 4. Skip, single into the next. Chain 4. Single into the next. Chain 4. Jump to that middle double crochet of your set of 3 right there. And we're going to work 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to end, we're just going to chain 2 and double crochet into the next double crochet and double crochet into the top of that chain 3. There we go. All right, so that is the end of row 14 and the second row of our 4-row repeat. And now we're going to move on to 15. So go ahead and chain 3 and turn our work. We are going to double crochet into that very next double. Chain 2, and into that very first double crochet we're going to work the cluster. Chain 2, cluster into the next double. Chain 2, cluster into that next double. What am I doing? Those are not clusters. Sorry. Get back on there. Chain 2 into the next double with a cluster. Chain 2, and don't forget that last double crochet right there. Cluster into there. All right, now we're going to chain 4. Skip that chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single crochet. Chain 4. Jump all the way to that first double crochet and work the cluster. So this row is a pretty easy repeat. Cluster, chain 2, cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, 2 more doubles left, chain 2, 1 more, make sure you have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, chain 4. Skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single. Chain 4. Jump over to that first double and start our cluster. chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the very next double crochet, make sure you have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 4, skip the next chain 4, single crochet into the next chain 4, and then we repeat that again, chain 4, jump to the very next double, cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, the next one, chain 2, one more double right there, cluster into that one, and now we are to our spine, our little stitch marker. So we are going to chain 2, double into that next double crochet, okay, sorry about that, chain 2, I move my stitch marker, double into the next double, and put my stitch marker back on my chain 2 spine, chain 2. All right, now we just work that. Oh, I'm sitting on my legs. I got to get off my legs for a minute. Okay, so we just work what we just worked down this side. Go to the first double crochet with a cluster, chain 2, cluster into the next double, chain 2, cluster into the next double, chain 2, into the next double, chain 2, look for that very last double crochet, we can't skip that one, cluster into that, and then we chain 4, skip the next chain 4, single crochet into that next chain 4, chain 4, jump to our next double and start our clusters, chain 2, two, chain 2, cluster into the next, chain 2, into the next. Ooh, I lost my yarn over. Make sure you have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 4, skip the next chain 4 into the next chain 4 with a single, chain 4, jump over to your doubles and work the cluster, chain 2, chain 2, chain 2, chain 2, one more double there, chain 4, sorry, I got lost in all of my clusters. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now we chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip that next chain 4. Jump straight over to that next chain 4 with a single. Chain 4. Jump over to your set of 5 doubles, and to the first one we start again with the clusters. 1, chain 2. 2, chain 2. 3, chain 2. 4, chain 2, and into the last double for the 5th, just like that. All right, now we're to the end of the row, so we can end by chaining 2, double into that next double, double into the top of the chain 3. And that is the end of 15. Okay, so to move on to 16, again, we just chain 3, turn our work, and this is the last of the 4-row repeat, the last row. Okay, so for 16, we double crochet into that very next double, chain 4, we're going to skip that first chain space. Into the next chain space, we're going to single, chain 4, single into the next chain space, chain 4, single into the next chain space, chain 4, single into the next chain space, and now we're going to chain 4 and jump right over and double crochet into that single. Chain 4, and we just repeat that's what we repeat for the row. Chain 4, skip this chain 4 into the next chain, the first chain 2 space with a single, chain 4. Single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, jump right over to that single crochet and work 1 double. And repeat that again. Chain 4, jump right over to that chain 2 and single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into that next chain 2, chain 4, single into that next chain 2, chain 4, jump right over to that single crochet, and we are going to work a double crochet into that single, chain 4, jump right over to that chain 2, single, chain 4, single, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, and now that we are to our spine, we chain 4, double into that double crochet, chain 2, move our stitch marker, double crochet into that next double, and there is our spine. All right, now we chain 4 into, well, we skip this chain 2 space into the next chain 2 space with a single, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, jump right over to that single crochet, and double crochet. Chain 4, jump right over to that chain 2, the single, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, jump over to that single crochet and work 1 double, chain 4, skip that chain 4, jump right to that chain 2 and work a single crochet, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, single into the next chain 2, chain 4, jump right to that single crochet and double crochet into it, chain 4, into your first chain 2 with a single, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, single into the next, chain 4, and to end the row we're going to double crochet into the very next double and double crochet into the top of the chain 3. Just like that. And that is your 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's what I want you to repeat for the however long you want your shawl to be. You just repeat 13, 14, 15, 16. And I want you to end on, let me get my pattern out here. I want you to end on row 15 because row 15 is the cluster row, and that makes a perfect little border along the bottom of our shawl. All right, so I'm going to let you off camera repeat 13, 14, 15, 16. All you have to do is rewind this video, and you can write it down as you go, or actually you can just memorize it after you you repeat it so many times. You just repeat 13, 14, 15, 16. 13, 14, 15, 16, ending on row 15, the cluster row, okay? So just rewind. If you need any help, my email address is in the description box. Just go down there and copy my email and paste it to your email and shoot me an email if you need any help. All right, so go ahead and get yours done and then come back and we will finish up this shawl. Okay, so once you have your row repeats done, I just worked my let's see, I did 13 to 16 and then I did 13, 14, and then we stopped on 15. So your row repeats 13 to 16, repeat, stop on 15. So that way we can use the clusters, makes a cute little border. All right, so once you get that done, we are going to end by chaining 1, pull up a loop, cut, and let's weave in our end. Or actually, I'll just weave mine in later. What I'm gonna do now is show you how I block mine. So my big old shawl, what I did is I laid it down and I got a couple of heavy things. what we're going to do is block our shawl from the spine out. So basically what your shawl will look like is 2 triangles, just like that, right? Like here's a triangle, here's a triangle. So when we block each side, we need to block it by triangle. So this way and this way, and that's what gets those pineapples to pop. So what I'm going to do is put something heavy right in the center, right in the middle, just like that. I may need to go a little heavier than that, but that's all right for now. How about, well, I don't know. My hook case, that'll hold it. And then I want this end. I'm going to set my iron on the hottest setting. I'm going to get that a little out of the way so you guys can see what we're doing. Somebody is outside doing yard work and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's a little annoying right now. But anyway, my iron is making itself known that it's nice and hot. Okay, so I moved my camera around so I could show you guys a little bit better. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna, have something heavy on my shawl and bring it out this way and, hold my iron on top of it, hit the steam, and then just get it to lay out like that. And as always, remember, do not set the iron on your work. Just hover over the top and push the steam button. And then just go like that. You see how it gets those pineapples open up and stay open? Perfect. That's hot. All right, now I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. Put something heavy in the middle. Get that to open up nice and pretty, just like that. And there, you guys can see how your shawl opens nice and pretty and wide, and all those pineapples pop, just like that. All right, so do that to your whole shawl and weave in your ends, and then you are done. There is a stunning pineapple shawl. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. And as always, if you ever need any help, my email address is in the description box. Unplug my iron. Shoot me an email and I will be more than happy to help you guys out as best I can, okay? All right. Oh, and in the description box, there's also links to all the social media platforms. Whichever one you're on, get on there and send me a picture of this, or just email me a picture. However you want to. If you make this, I would love to see you guys make this. I am betting this would look great in a 3-way, like a striped yarn, a pretty pastel striped color yarn. I bet that would look great. I would love that. Okay, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss what's next. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.